Fifth fastest team, overseeing everything on the grid in anticipation of this first race of the weekend. And then sixth for the ART junior team is Darius Osqui. The car just being rolled back into place there as the French engineers have a word with the driver in anticipation of this race. Now, at the very back, Charlie Eastwood, graduating from the BRDC F4 Championship into Formula Renault. He did have one or two races last year, but unfortunately, in qualifying this morning, the team ran the car without the catalytic converter, so it didn't comply with the technical regulations. Hence, he was excluded from both parts of qualifying. It's one session into two parts, one for Q1, one for Q2. Net result is at the back of the grid for both races, and not a very happy man as a consequence of that. So Charlie Eastwood will be a man to watch working his way through the field in the Straka racing car. There on this one-by-one staggered grid, you can see the way that the field has lined up. 30 drivers, 21 nationalities, the average age 18.6, and it's only really because you've got one driver of 32 in the Canadian David Richard that it's quite that high. Around here, with a tow, you can do a top speed of 250 kilometers an hour. There are 11 rookies in the championship this year, and we have the overall champion to be given a test in Formula Renault 3.5 at the end of the season. Max Deforny there, who drives car number 33, the son of former GT racer and Belgian Grand Prix promoter Didier Deforny. And he lines up 7th and then 8th on the grid for Fortec. There he is, Zachary Clement de Mello, who is Canadian by nationality. His mother is Canadian, but of Hungarian parents. His father is Portuguese, so it's a real mix that makes up the family around Zachary Clement de Mello, driving for Fortec, ex-kart racer, now turning his attention to single-seater racing. There is the Straka racing entry that did get the catalytic converters fixed, and the French driver Valentin Asclot, French Formula 4 graduate, is the man behind the wheel for Fortec there. In his first season of car racing is Jahan Daruvala, the Indian driver. The grid is now cleared, and the grid about to be released onto the warming up lap as you look down at car number 9, lower down the grid there. So you've got 25 minutes ahead for this race. It's not a set number of laps. Flag goes out first time the leader crosses the line once 25 minutes are up. Delatraz for pole position there. Whether it was purely new tyres, whether it was experience, whether it was the fact that the wind was behind him to give him this 0.6 of a second margin in qualifying, hard to judge. But the scrutineers had a look at the car, happy, everything complied, and so Delatraz on pole then for Josef Kaufmann. He leads them away. The formation lap for the opening round of the Formula Renault 2-litre Northern European Cup for 2015. And this is a championship that limits drivers. If you're doing the full Euro Cup, you can only do a number of races within this, but the fact that it goes to so many different circuits these days, such as Silverstone, such as Spa, such as the Nürburgring, such as Assen, such as Most, such as Hockenheim, such as the Red Bull Ring, all making up the calendar, mean that it's a very good alternative to the Euro Cup. It runs at high-profile race meetings, very, very competitive indeed. And whereas now national championships for Formula Renault have pretty much become a thing of the past, it is the regional championships that are taking over. It has an illustrious long list of champions as well. The original champion back in 2006, as you look at Charlie Eastwood there at the back of the grid, a man to watch. Felipe Albuquerque was the first champion, went on to win the Race of Champions race in the DTM and joined the Audi factory team. In 2007, the champion was Frank Kekela, who became part of the Vitaphone Vita41 GT squad. The 2008 champion was Valtteri Bottas, now of course a Williams Grand Prix driver. In 2009, Antonio Felix da Costa was the champion, Ludwig Guidi was a champion, Carlos Sainz Jr., Jake Dennis, Matt Parry last year, Ben Barnicoat. The grid is scrolling through as we've seen it, with Louis Delatraz and Ukio Sasahara at the front, ahead of Kevin Jurg, and then Dries Vanthoor ahead of Ignacio D'Agosto and Darius Osqui. Max Deforny and Zachary Clement de Mello round out the top 8 on the grid. 9th is where you find Valentin Asclot, and 10th is Jahan Daruvala. Colin Noble, graduating from Radicals via BARC Formula Renault, lines up alongside Josef Zoruba. Then it's Callan O'Keefe back for a second season alongside Nikita Mazepin. Dennis Olsen lines up on the 8th row alongside Robin Hansen. Then it is Luke Chudley alongside Lasse Sorensen, younger brother of GP2 racer Marco. Ferdinand Habsburg is on the 10th row with Enrique Chaves for company. Oliver Söderström is on row 11 alongside Pontus Fredriksson, but he crashed at the end of qualifying and did a bit of damage to the car, missed Q2. Rahul Rajmaya and Bartolomé Mirecki are on the 12th row. The 13th row is where you find Canadian David Richer and Inigo Bicuna, ahead of Bronislaw Formanek and Alex Gill, who had a drama with the wheel not sitting properly. He missed the bulk of the Q1 qualifying, didn't get out in time to do a proper lap. Roy Geerts went off early in qualifying, damaged the suspension. Charlie Eastwood excluded, lost his lap times as a consequence. So there's quite a lot to look for towards the back of the grid as well, people working their way back up the order. It is, of course, a standing start, so they'll slot into place in a few moments on that one-by-one staggered grid. And as soon as the car of Charlie Eastwood is in place, then the indication can be given that we can go racing. It's, as ever, a bright and colourful grid, a real mix of nationalities. We've got, 21 different nations in total across a 30-strong grid. It's pretty impressive, I've got to say. And although, as I say, national Formula Renault is not very strong at all, regional, like this, like the alternative series in Europe, are very strong indeed. From a team's point of view, they can take drivers to Grand Prix circuits. They have lots of track time. Yesterday morning there was private testing, then they have 2 free practice periods, and then into qualifying. So in terms of the mileage that a young driver gets over the weekend, it's a very, very good championship, good value for money in that respect. Well promoted series as well. And Louis Delatraz, who is probably starting with more to lose than anybody else, in that it's his now 3rd year in the championship, and really he has got to be the champion this year. He has got to win this. He lines up on pole position. With him at the front for the ART junior team, Okio Sasahara. There he is in the red and white colours. And then look on the second row, Kevin Jörg. I would suggest that he is a potential race winner as well. And also one to watch is going to be the bright yellow Kaufman car in the hands of Dries van Toor. As soon as the last car is in place, then we should get ready to go racing. The cars come out of the parabolica, switch sides if they need to go to the inside into the grid markings there as you work your way down the grid. 33 you've just seen is Max Dufourny. There's car number 13 slotting into place, Zachary Clement de Mello. 32 is there ready to go, which is Valentin Asclot. Number 6, Jahan Daruvala. And that green flag at the back indicates that everybody has returned from the warming up lap. Everybody is where they need to be. 25 minutes ahead of us, but there's a yellow flag waving straight away. Are we going to have a start? It's the pole man who has stalled, I think, has got a problem. Louis Delatraz has got a problem. Do we get a start? Is it an aborted start? It is go, but a very confused getaway because other people have bogged down as well. Amongst them, Dries van Toor and David Richer, I think, were slow off the line as well. Dries van Toor slow away, but everybody weaving around. Now, we have had the cars released. The clock has started, but I think it's an aborted start. The clock, I would imagine, will reset. Yes, it's not a competitive start, but we only now get a glimpse of the board. There it is to say there's another formation lap because of the problems with cars stalling on the grid. So there you can see it. Some did get moving, others didn't. The yellow car bogging down was Dries van Toor. So although the clock has started, suggesting that the race has happened, there's an extra formation lap. Now, whether the clock will reset or this extra lap's going to be counted within the 25 minutes, we'll have to wait and see. So they will reform on the grid. And all of this is because of, effectively, Louis Delatraz stalling, having to try and get the car fired up. Start was aborted. But from where we are overlooking the start line, can't see the lighting gantry, I'm afraid. And so we do get this extra formation lap. There it is confirmed. And the clock has reset on our timing screen. Not on the graphics on your screen, but on the timing screen it has reset to 25 minutes. So it will be a complete restart. Is that going to do anything to fuel an extra warming up lap? Monza is a pretty high speed circuit and they won't overfill the cars if they can avoid it because it's extra weight. So just wonder whether this might have an impact or not come the very end of the race. We'll have to wait and see. So, as you were, Louis Delatraz leads them away. Now, I'm assuming he's going to be allowed to remain on that pole position. He was effectively the cause of the extra warming up lap and the delayed start, but I'm not conscious of any officials standing where he should have been or giving him any penalty, so he will slot into place at the front and then we should be good to go. really frustrating for all the drivers. You get them all psyched up, one or two nerves jangling, and then they have to go through it all over again. For many of them, first ever car race, so keen to get on with this. So the drivers generating warmth into the tyres. You can see them weaving around all over the road. Michelin tyres on which they run. Michelin, the traditional partner for Renault Sport Championships. The series now an FIA authorised series as well. The FIA has to sanction the series because it is a regional series and therefore has a number of races outside of the homeland of the promoter. So as the cars head towards the line, there, hopefully this time not to get a problem, is Louis Delatraz. He was able at least to get it all fired up. Now do the drivers go back to their grid positions? What about Delatraz? Is he being told to stop at the back? I think he is, isn't he? Yes. So Louis Delatraz, no, is allowed through. I thought the indications to the marshals were, stop here, you're going to the back now, but he does go to pole position. There's one regulation, of course, that says if everybody goes past you, you must start at the back. Not everybody did, but as I say, it was his error that forced this extra warming up lap. But anyway, the marshals there have let him go through. The field does slot into place, and so we should now be ready for a second effort to get the race underway. Looking back down the grid, cars slot into position, and as soon as the last one is there, namely Charlie Eastwood, I'll have another go at this. So Louis Delatraz is the man on pole position. With him at the front of the grid, Okia Sasahara, as Colin Noble slots into place there. The second row of the grid is Kevin Jurg, and then Dries Vanthoor, who also hopes for a better, less confused start this time around. So the drivers slot into place. The start line much further down the pit straight than the timing line, the finish line, and so the front of the grid just to my right as they are halfway down the pit straight. In a moment the officials on the gantry will display a 5-second board. It has been reduced to 22 minutes because of that warming up lap, and therefore no worries about fuel. So we have the green flag at the back. Extra green flag lap means 22 minutes, and we should get a red light in a moment. We do now, and so Formula Renault 2-litre NEC is go. Not a great start really by Sasahara. He kind of went and then bogged down a bit, so Delatraz makes a decent start. He defends from Sasahara. Kevin Jurg comes up to the outside line. Dries Vanthoor is fourth as they head down towards the chicane for the first time. Jurg trying to attack there on the outside line and leaves the door open for Sasahara to have a sneaky look up on the inside, with Ignacio D'Agusto in the white car going fourth ahead of Vanthoor. They work their way through the chicane for the first time. They're on the power and work their way up around the lap. We've got two cars already hopping over the curb, running wide into that first chicane. Up the escape road means no damage, means no dramas for the race officials either. So the race leader is Louis Delatraz. Is he getting away? No. Jurg looks like he's managed to hang on to that second place. Sasahara is third. D'Agusto is fourth. Vanthoor is fifth through the chicane, wheel to wheel in the midfield. Louis Delatraz, though, now trying to get away as the cars work their way through the middle sector on the lap. The field turning its way through then, with now Delatraz starting to get away, and the man that's going backwards, I'm afraid, is Vanthoor. He started fourth on the grid. He's lost a couple of spots already because not only has D'Agusto got ahead of him, but I think also Osqui has gone through as well. Darius Osqui, as the cars now work their way once more down towards the Variante Ascari, but this time it is in a proper race situation. All these cars the same. They're built by Tatus, 210 brake horsepower, 4-cylinder Renault engines, 7-speed paddle shift gearboxes. They weigh 582 kilos. They are a great training racing car for young aspiring drivers, and Louis Delatraz, who knows the cars inside out, had a win at Monza last year and was second in the second race, comes down towards the Parabolica, turns his way through the right-hander, and Sasahara there with a bit of a twitch as he tried to get underneath Kevin Jurg going into the long right-hander. One or two other heroes locking up. There's tar smoke hanging in the air as the race leaders come over the line. Delatraz, though, has made good his escape at the end of lap one. Jurg is second, Sasahara is third, D'Agusto is fourth. In fifth place over the timing line has got Max de Forny, so down to sixth is Dries Vanthoor, and it might become seventh in a moment because right up behind him then is Darius Osqui in the red and white car there on the outside line, who tries to find a way through there, wheel to wheel down to the chicane. Osqui can't find a way round it there. Vanthoor stands his ground. What progress lower down from Charlie Eastwood. He started 30th, he's up to 21st. There is Eastwood in the silver car from Straka Racing, looking to make further progress as the cars power on now round up towards the two elements of the Lesmo bends, and Ukiya Sasahara has just done the best of anybody in the first sector, meaning he's closing on Kevin Jurg. That's the battle still for 6th place. The yellow car is Dries Van Toor, just ahead of the Swiss driver Darius Osqui in the ART Junior team car. Wheel to wheel lower down there, look, diving towards the first of the Lesmos. Up on the inside was Max de Forney, and one runs way wide ahead of him, clatters all over the gravel, all over the curb. It is all happening, isn't it, in this opening round of the championship? One or two drivers here with a real point to prove. So, we're on lap 2, but it's not a set number of laps, don't forget. It is a timed race, 25 minutes. The flag comes out the first time the leader crosses the line after the elapsed time is completed, and we're down to 22 anyway because of the extra green flag lap. Good fight there as 27 Rahul Rajmaya dives up the inside of traffic. You've got Josef Zaruba in that little contest as well. Down to the parabolic comes the race leader, but Louis Delatraz now getting away, and in fact he's done the best middle sector on this lap of anybody else, so he's keen to build the advantage. Colin Noble on the outside line losing out there, look, as they turn their way round the parabolica. The British driver who went from Radicals into the Formula Renault BARC Championship losing out. Callan O'Keefe, a man in a big hurry, trying to get up and past him, and has now done so as they come over the timing line. 18 minutes remain. Race leader Delatraz now 1 second clear of Jurg. Sasahara is still 3rd. D'Agusto is 4th. De Forney is 5th. 6th is Van Toor. 7th is Osqui. In 8th place now it is Daruvala. 9th is Callan O'Keefe. And in 10th place Zachary Clement de Mello. And we're getting a drive-through penalty for number 14, which is Louis Delatraz for not respecting his grid position. So does that indicate that he should have been at the back after all? That seemed to be what the marshals wanted him to do. He went to the front, and so Delatraz gets a drive-through. He leads the race, but he's about to have to sacrifice that. So that means that the situation between, somebody off at the chicane, between Jurg and Sasahara is going to become the lead battle. We're on lap 3. The race situation is going to change radically in a few moments' time. There's one straggler who's just gone over the timing line, and that in car number 8 is Luke Chudley. There's one that we lost on the opening lap, Robin Hansen, and there's somebody else that we've lost in a big cloud of gravel. Peering through to try and find a number, it's Pontus Fredriksson, who crashed in qualifying. He's got off the road in the first race as well. It's not a good weekend for him. So Louis Delatraz leads on the road, but he's about to have to give up that position, and so Kevin Jurg is going to take over the advantage. Replay here of what happened to Fredriksson, I suspect. Let's have a look. Touch of wheels, no, not quite, but he got forced, didn't he, out over the white line, and once he was on the grass he just lost traction altogether and spears off into the barriers. Right, Delatraz has stayed out. Now, whether or not the team is arguing about this, don't know. The message has gone off the timing screen, but Louis Delatraz stays out there. He leads the way ahead of Kevin Jurg, ahead of Ukiya Sasahara. Here you've got Dries Van Toor trying to fend off Darius Osqui as they come down to the chicane. 16 minutes, as you can see, still to run. Field turning its way for the 4th time around this tremendous circuit, and even in slicks and wing single-seaters, Monza, like Spa, is able to generate lots of overtaking because it's a good circuit in which you can get a tow. Sasahara lapping quicker than Jurg, who is there in 2nd spot, but in real terms the race leader, although the fact that this penalty has not been taken and the message has gone off the screen does make me think there's a bit of discussion going on between the race director and the team that operates Delatraz's car, namely Josef Kaufmann Racing. He's leading at the moment by 1.5 seconds, and there is 21 off the road, which is Enrique Chavez. That's at the chicane, I think. They pulled him out of harm's way. Chavez was 20th, having gained a place on the last lap. He might be able to rejoin from there as Delatraz turns his way down to the Valiante Ascari, keeping at bay Kevin Jurg, keeping at bay Ukiya Sasahara. Those gaps opening up a little bit now. 4th, you can see, is Ignacio D'Agusto for Manor MP Motorsport. Then 5th, Max de Forney. And de Forney, somebody else doing a pretty impressive job here. First season in this championship, he drove in the 1.6 litre Formula Renault series last year, did Max de Forney. Heading down to the Parabolica then at the end of lap number 4. Just under 1/4 of an hour of the race remaining. And there you can see another little scrap shaping up nicely. Colin Noble is at the back of it. Turning through ahead of him is the situation between Zachary Clement de Mello, and also got Dennis Olsen in that little train. Those two running together as across the timing line goes the race leader. He stayed out for another lap. 1.6 seconds is the advantage. Zachary Clement de Mello comes up on the outside line, tries to attack on the run down towards the first chicane. Dennis Olsen defends on the inside line. De Mello locks up, and up the inside comes Colin Noble in the black and red car there. They almost interlock wheels. No change in the order, but it's Dennis Olsen that drives away from that with an increased advantage as they almost fell over themselves behind him. So Delatraz stays out. The message about the penalty has gone from the timing screen. Has that been rescinded? Is he going to be allowed to stay out? Plot thickens. We haven't had any messages saying that the penalty is gone, but he's not taking it. He's had two opportunities to dive for the pit lane. And if he doesn't take it, there's going to be some discussion amongst the other drivers, I would have thought. So the race leader, Louis Delatraz, continues on his way. There he is, heading down towards the Variante Ascari. He's done the fastest lap of the race. His advantage is 1.6 seconds, although in fairness, this time around in the middle sector, Kevin Jurg has taken quite a chunk out of him. Now, is Delatraz trying to stay out till the last possible moment before he takes the penalty? Is he trying to build up as big a gap as he can so he will sacrifice fewer positions? That could be the game plan here. Big slide there, look, coming through the Variante Ascari in the mid-pack. Some cracking battles go on all the way through the field, and on the opening round of the championship like this, lots of people still eager to prove a point. They've had relatively little running over the winter if they've been late signing into the championship. Deals still being down at the 11th hour. The entry list changing even on the morning of free practice yesterday here. So the leaders have gone through, with Delatraz now having made the pit stop. He has peeled in this time, so we have a new race leader. It is Kevin Jurg who takes over the advantage from Sasahara, from Ignacio D'Agusto. Charlie Eastwood trying to hustle his Straka racing car up the order as well as he comes over the line. Eastwood is up into 19th place. Alex Gill, former Formula Renault BARC racer, from the back up to 18th place. So Louis Delatraz has now pitted. He came in 4th place. By the time he lifted and got to the timing line, it was 4th. There he is, but he's a lot further down the order than that now. We'll see whether he actually pans out at the end of the lap when he goes over the timing beam. But it's the race that got away as far as Delatraz is concerned. See the way the order is. 19th at the first sector is Delatraz, so 19th place he has rejoined, and that gives him a huge amount of work to do. Kevin Jurg is the race leader. Now what can he do to get away further from Mukio Sasahara? 11 minutes and change on the clock. Jurg, very competent driver, as we saw on his occasional visits last year. He had 3 wins last year in his part season. This year, Kevin Jurg is doing the whole championship, and I would propose he's a potential champion. 31, Charlie Eastwood, the Irishman, goes through. Somebody's lost a wing end plate there. It's going to affect the aero of the car slightly. Charlie Eastwood's progress 19th at the start of the lap. So as far as Josef Kaufmann's team is concerned, lose one but inherit one, because Delatraz for the team loses the lead. Kevin Jurg picks it up. Over the line he comes into the second half of the race now. 22 minutes, remember, it was reduced to. Through goes Jurg, through goes Sasahara, the gap 1 second. Third now is Ignacio D'Agusto. 4th is Max Stefani. 5th is Dries Vanthoor. 6th is Darius Osquist. 7th making progress, Callan O'Keefe. 8th is Jahan Davila. In his first season of car racing, first car race, it's not a bad effort this by Jahan Davila. 9th is Max Olsen. 10th now is the Frenchman Zachary Clement de Mello. There's more interlocking of wheels almost at the chicane there as the cars wriggle their way out and up towards the fast right-hander now. Speed building all the time through the Rettifilio. Max Stefani in 4th place, hunting down Ignacio D'Agusto for 3rd. And here, almost 3 wide as they dive up towards the second chicane. Charlie Eastwood trying to make further progress in his Straka racing car. 32, Valentin Asclot goes through. He is on the back now of Nikita Mazepin, the Russian driver. He's the youngest driver as well, Mazepin, at 16 years of age. Born born in early March 1999. Leaders go out of the Valle Antiascari. Is that gap coming down in the first sector? Yes. In the second sector, no. So in other words, it's rather elasticated, and Kevin Jurg is doing enough to hang on to that advantage. 16, Nikita Mazepin flicks the car out of the chicane, down towards the Parabolica, out of which the race leader comes. Is it race leaders, plural, because Jurg has got Ukio Sasahara behind him in the ART junior team. And this, for Sasahara, is his one weekend in the Northern European Cup before he goes off to do the Euro Cup. So he wants to make an impact. He goes over the timing line. He is making an impact, because that time around he has brought the gap down to 0.6 of a second. It's game on between the race leaders. It's game on for third as well, because there, look, you've got Ignacio D'Agosto just ahead now of Max Deforny with his Straka racing car. Those two pairing off, running together for third and fourth. Fifth is Dries Vanthoor. Sixth is Darius Osqui. Seventh is O'Keefe. And then in eighth place now, it is Jehan Daruvara. So the race leaders through the second chicane, but third could change imminently. Here you've got Ignacio D'Agosto. Started off in 2012 in Formula Renault, so he knows the cars pretty well. He's trying to keep at bay Max Deforny in his first year. There he is of 2-litre Formula Renault racing. Works his way through the first of the Lesmos. He's also got, look, Dries Vanthoor coming back at him. Trouble is, he's closed on D'Agosto, can't find a way through, gets in the dirty air, loses pace, and look further back as well. Was that O'Keefe running wide in the background over the curve? I think it was. 8 minutes to go and counting. Leaders come now through the Valle Antiascari. Max Deforny, there he is for the Straka Racing team, through in fourth place. Ahead of Dries Vanthoor as the leaders come into the Parabolica. So Deforny then has done the best lap of the race in his quest to get onto terms with Ignacio D'Agosto. Another challenge made as Colin Noble gets up the inside and gains ground as well, going down towards the Parabolica. That puts him ahead of Zachary Clement de Mello, and a good move pulled to put him back into the top 10. Leaders come over the timing line. Lead gap has gone up to 0.8 of a second. Delatraz still 19th. As look at this, wheel to wheel over the line. Noble and Clement de Mello absolutely side by side, but de Mello will have the inside for the first chicane. Is he brave enough to brake late? Noble is going to have to give way. No, he's not. He's going to go around the outside and hang on to the place. Great stuff. Colin Noble stays ahead, and Zachary Clement de Mello had a long look up the inside, but in his first year of car racing he couldn't do anything about the more experienced Colin Noble. But it was great stuff, and he's not given up. The multicoloured car of de Mello tries to find a way around on the outside and then the inside. He's got the line, but he has to slot back in because he's going to be on the wrong line coming into the second chicane. And so Colin Noble up into 10th place now. Looks like he might be able to hang on to it. Louis Delatraz now with the fastest lap of the race to his credit, and Delatraz with clear track space around him is being able to do good sectors, but the trouble is he's still way down in 19th place. 6 minutes of the session to go. This opening race of the year, Kevin Jurg looks like he's going to be the man that comes out on top, but for third and fourth they've bunched up again. Ignacio D'Agosto has been caught by Max Deforny, who is the leading driver in the new rookie competition as well. So Max Deforny set to open his season with a win, seemingly. Then you've got his rival in that, Dries Vanthoor, behind. You can see the way that D'Agosto moves across the road, not weaving as such, but just trying to break that toe, break that slipstreaming effect that is being picked up behind him by Max Deforny. They run right to the extreme there over the white line at the Parabolica. Dries Vanthoor probably ran wider than anybody in that leading group and loses a length as a consequence because he just ran a bit wide onto the grid. Leaders go through. Kevin Jurg ahead of Ukio Sasahara. Gap between them is 0.6 of a second, and now as they come down towards the chicane, the gap looks a little bit less under braking. But for third place, Ignacio D'Agosto is fending off the challenge of Max Deforny, who's getting ever more toey now. He's up on the curb, and he can see the yellow car of Dries Vanthoor right up behind him. He knows he's got to get on with this, otherwise Vanthoor will be there, and Vanthoor is taking with him Darius Osqui. To the inside goes Deforny. He's got the inside line all the way through the Rettifilio, but the problem is that he's in danger of being on the wrong line for the second chicane. Let us see as they come now down towards the braking zone. Can't do it. Can't find a way round, so he's got to slot back in here. And all of that, look, has put Vantor right onto his tail. D'Agusto defending well, but Deforny getting ever more frustrated. He needs to get through, because otherwise Vantor will be past him. Vantor now has a look to the inside. That means Deforny has to defend. That means the gap widens third to fourth, because D'Agusto can break away a little bit. Another fastest lap of the race has been done by Delatraz now. Sasahara pulls out and pulls back in again. He is all over the back of Kevin Jurg. He's determined to find a way past him. Can he do it? Not yet, he can't. He needs a toe down to the Parabolica, or he needs to stay in the toe round the Parabolica and then slingshot his way up the inside, going down towards the first chicane. Down they come. Jurg with just 0.6 of a second in hand. 4 minutes just under remain. They're going to get 2, maybe even 3 more laps out of this, depending on where they cross the line relative to the clock. Here they come over the safety car line, and then the timing line now with 3.5 minutes to go. 2 more laps, I would suggest, this and 1 more. Race leaders, nose to tail. Sasahara getting ever more committed to this. For third, Ignacio D'Agusto is still ahead of Deforny, who now tries the outside for the first part of the chicane and runs off the road. Hops back on, but he's going to have to give the place up, surely, because he's gained an advantage by running off the road there. Leaves the door open on the inside for D'Agusto to come back, but he doesn't want Dries Vantor to get up the inside of him. He slots back in. He's done exactly the right thing. Fair play to Max Deforny. He defends from Dries Vantor. This is the lead battle. Sasahara now does commit. He has a look on the outside, but he can't find a way through there. Kevin Jurg defends up the inside. Vantor has gone ahead of Deforny. Sasahara alongside Jurg, and they make contact. Damage to the wing end plate of Sasahara's car. Has that done tyre damage to Jurg? They almost bump each other again, but Nokia Sasahara has gone through. He picks up the advantage. His wing end plate we saw fragment, but I'm just worried about the rear tyre of Kevin Jurg's car. Jurg is back on his case. He tries the outside line. The aero will be affected on Sasahara's car because of that contact with 2 minutes to go. There's going to be time enough for 1 more lap. Sasahara leads, but with damage. Jurg is there in second place. Can he fight back now? They come out of the final chicane, the Variante Ascari, down towards the Parabolica. So we have a new leader. We've also had a change behind because Vantor, trying to get past Deforny, ran wide and has lost out to Osqui. Penultimate lap then, contact between Sasahara and Jurg. Sasahara takes over the lead, and Jurg dropping back a bit now. Just makes me fearful about this tyre. Has he picked up a slow puncture? You can see the way the gap has opened up. Onto the last lap they go. So Sasahara leads the way. Jurg is second. D'Agusto now is third. Deforny is still fourth. 'Twas ever thus. Osqui is up to fifth. And sixth is Dries Vantor. But going down to the first chicane, there's a big lock-up, and that I think was Jurg. And also there's a place change imminent here because Callan O'Keefe is up the inside of Dries Vantor, and he goes through. A place change on the last lap of the race. Callan O'Keefe, the South African, into the top 6. Now, what has happened within that leading battle? Again, if Jurg's got a tyre problem, that would have accounted for why he locked up. And you can see how much time he's lost there. It looks as though Sasahara got away with it. Yes, there is a puncture. The tyre is going down. You can see the balance of the car has all shifted, and the front left is in the air. Kevin Jurg has got a puncture. It's gone down, and so now, there it is. You can graphically see it. He's limping to the line. He's picked up that slow puncture, as I feared. And so now he's limping his way round on this last lap of the race, but he's losing place after place after place. Kevin Jurg watching his race disappear. Now, was it a racing incident between him and Sasahara? Is anything going to be done post-race? It can't give Jurg his victory back because, of course, he's losing all these other places. But for now, provisionally, Sasahara leads the way up into second place. Ignacio D'Agusto, Max Deforny third, and this is the battle for second place coming down to the last corner. What a race. It started with controversy over Delatraz and his grid position. It ends with a bit of a talking point, to say the very least, about the contact. Sasahara with bodywork damage, but more significantly, it's tyre damage to Kevin Jurg. Here they come, up towards the line. It is going to be a win on the road for Ukiyo Sasahara. He wins the opening round of Formula Renault NEC, second over the line. It's going to be Ignacio D'Agusto, but only just, because right with him at the end is the winning rookie, and that is Max Deforny. In fourth place comes Osqui, fifth is O'Keefe, sixth is Vantor, seventh is Dennis Olsen. 8th across the line is going to be Jahan Daruvala. 9th is Colin Noble. 10th is the youngest man on the grid, Nikita Mazepin. And where is Kevin Jurg? He has yet to come through. He may even have parked it, but Kevin Jurg limping to the line. He led for the bulk of the mid part of the race, and he has still not got across the timing line. He's in the pit lane, tumbling down the order, I'm afraid, on that classification, because he's pitted, and therefore he'll cross the timing line in the pit road, but in so doing, I'm afraid, is shown as being 23rd. All because of contact on the penultimate lap with this man. A very happy Yukio Sasahara. He wins here at Monza. He did drive here last year. He was second at Monza in last year's championship, and this is his only weekend of the season before he goes off to do the Euro Cup. Well, Kevin Jurg may well be glad to see the back of him after all of that rather robust racing. So Yukio Sasahara, it was his left front wing that rubbed against the right rear of Kevin Jurg's car, did the damage. Punctured the tyre. Sasahara escaped, and Jurg definitely did not. So big disappointment for him. So the field will make its way towards Parc Fermé. The winning driver, and indeed the winning rookie, will then head to the podium. One more race here this weekend, and that is tomorrow morning for the Formula Renault NEC. The 2-litre drivers will race tomorrow at 10:30. But a very lively start to the championship season, that's for sure. Extra green flag lap means 22 minutes. Contact between the top two. Poleman gets a penalty for not starting where he should at the back of the grid. High drama. But in between all of that, some very good racing indeed. And proof that you can overtake, you can get stuck in slicks and wings single-seaters. The cars that aren't required for the scrutineering and podium ceremony will go down towards the paddock through the gate on the back straight. And so Yukio Sasahara, Ignacio D'Agosto and Max Stefani, who's also the winning rookie, will go into the pit lane and then to the podium. So Sasahara might have a bit of explaining to do. Certainly from the Josef Kaufmann Racing team's point of view, I suspect they will have a very earnest discussion, because as far as they can see, that contact has caused a win to go begging. But you could argue that Kevin Jurg shouldn't have lost the time to give Sasahara the opportunity to challenge. Down the pit lane they come. 2 races here this weekend, then the championship moves on to Silverstone, goes to the Red Bull Ring, to Assen, then to Spa. The championship also will go to the Nürburgring, and it finishes at Hockenheim in October. Not all of its races are with Blancpain. It supports German GT and truck racing and all sorts of things, but the cars with a busy season ahead, and it remains, as I said earlier on, a tremendous championship from which to find stars of the future. And there, Yukio Sasahara, it may have been a rather robust way that he got the lead, but get the lead he did. And the team, with appropriate head attire, celebrate with their man. The officials there ready to whisk him up towards the podium. Very happy Yukio Sasahara. I suspect the mood in the Josef Kaufmann camp is rather different after all of that. So ART Junior team wins from Manor MP Motorsport, and then Stracker Racing taking 3rd.
Well done.
Courtesy of Max Stefani, behind Ignacio D'Agosto.
Will you come with me? All 3? Yeah?
Come with me, says Carlo Deming, to get the drivers up towards the podium. And as soon as everybody is ready, then we can have the celebrations. Werner Eichinger is the permanent race director for this championship, and I suspect he's going to have a busy half an hour or so now. There's the Delatrade situation to unravel, and there's also whatever happens between Sasahara and Kevin Jurg. Well, let's hear from our winner. With OJ Borg is Yukio Sasahara.
Yukio, congratulations, a great race.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Talk me through the race.
Yeah, actually I made a big mistake on the start, and it was making me quite tough race. But then the car was fantastic. The team made a very good job, And then lap by lap, I knew that the Kevin is going slow down, and I was getting faster. So I was thinking where I should pass him. But then the chance came, and when I into the race mode, I was inside, so I can't move anywhere. So I'm sorry that hit him, but it's no choice for me as well. So at the end, yeah, we are on P1, so the first race with the ART. So thank you very much for all supporters and teams.
Do you think that just shows you that you've got the winning mentality, that you can come through that start and still get the win?
Yeah, I think first of all, when I made a mistake on the start, then I was like, gonna be tough. But lap by lap, I just keep calm and just push.
Well, Ugo, congratulations. Good luck for tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks to OJ Borg, who's looking after interviews for us. The point is that tomorrow we have the second race, and interesting to hear one side of the story. Let's look at the results then. We've got 12 laps of racing in, and Ukio Sasahara crossed the line first, 5 seconds ahead of Ignacio D'Agosto. Max Deforny third, top rookie ahead of Darius Oskwi. Callan O'Keefe fifth ahead of Dries Van Tor. Then Dennis Olsen seventh ahead of Jahan Daruvala. Colin Noble ninth after his battle with Nikita Mazepin. Zachary Clermont-Demelo was 11th, and in 12th place it was Lasse Storensen. Let's have a look at the highlights of the opening round of Formula Renault 2-litre NEC. Louis Delatraz started on pole position, but shouldn't, having fluffed his original start and causing an extra green flag lap. He led from Kevin Jurgen Ukio Sasahara after his slowish start, with Ignacio D'Agosto slotting in behind in 4th place, and over the first couple of corners, 1 or 2 ran wide and found themselves in a bit of strife. Contact at the second chicane, spearing up the escape road there, but thankfully people getting back on. Not so fortunate there after being forced onto the grass. Pontus Frederiksen, his second accident of the day. 3 wide, the 3 teammates ran as they crossed the line lower down the order. Colin Noble seemed to find everybody to battle with. This move was an impressive one up the inside of Zachary Clermont-Demelo, going around the Parabolica. Up front, Kevin Jorg's lead was evaporating. Ukio Sasahara was getting closer and closer and closer. Others weren't so fortunate lower down the order. A spin for Inigo Vicuña, the Spanish driver, wrong slotting at the second chicane but rejoining. The battle between Noble and DeMello raged on as they came wheel to wheel over the line. Other battles lower down as well. For third, you had Ignacio D'Agosto alongside Max Deforny, who thought he'd made the move and made it stick, but it wasn't to be. Noble was still busy squabbling, and he went round the outside at the chicane and finally secured 9th place. But then for the race lead, Sasahara at the inside. Jurg tried to defend, it was too late, he chopped across the front. Sasahara had damage, but it was the punctured tyre for Kevin Jurg that was more significant, and so Ukio Sasahara was able to escape, and he came through to score the race victory. An impressive drive by Ukio Sasahara to win by, in the end, over 5 seconds, with second go to Ignacio D'Agosto and third to Max Deforny. So, race honours to Ukio Sasahara. That was round 1 of Formula Renault 2-litre NEC. There is more to come tomorrow at 10:30 from David Addison. Bye-bye.